What is good, everyone? Welcome back to another trade recap of the day. Today we'll go over the trade I took in the PM session on Friday, May 15th. We'll go over my higher time frame bias, my entry model, and everything. Made about 673 bucks day trading the nasdaq in about an hour or so. So we'll go over my higher time frame bias, why I took this trade, and why I traded the PM session in the first place, and my drawn liquidity and everything, how I managed this position, and just go over everything. So let's delete everything here and start off on the higher time frame as always. Coming into the AM session, around here, I took two break-even trades on shorts, but my drawn liquidity were these relative equal lows. As you guys can see, AM session was around here, pretty low in the range. But what I noticed is we were disrespecting these bullish gaps, and we were respecting these bearish gaps over here and then over here. So we were clearly trending bearish. So my next drawn liquidity was these relative equal lows. Also, both of these were intermediate lows, being inside of these gaps here. So I thought these were a very obvious drawn liquidity. So I tried shorting, for example, this 5 minute, this 5 minute short, which ended up being a break-even trade. Targeted this, and then it went break-even at the lows, and then unfortunately got break-even, got edged. But this actually adds way more context to the trade I actually took, because we create 3 relative equal lows. So now you have this was Asia low from a few days ago. This was also an AM low, I believe, or a pre-market low. No, this was an AM low, and then also now another AM session low. All of these 3 stacked lows in like a very short range, only 30 points. We have these very strong draws on liquidity. So with that, that was my draw on liquidity for the PM session. And if we go over to my Discord, just wait 1 second here, I can show you guys my bias. If we go over the outlooks here, you guys can see I'm needing more bearish, the exact same day, but I said I would like to see a sweep on either the intermediate high in this hourly gap or this 4-hour gap. So that's important to note as well. But we didn't get that in the AM session. But what did I notice during lunch and PM session? We were trading towards this 4-hour gap, which I wanted to see shorts from. I wanted to see a manipulation into the 4-hour gap to then take shorts to the relative equal lows. But we just unfortunately didn't get it during the AM session. And what I've noticed recently is the lunch and PM session have been also very volatile and just delivering to the draws when AM doesn't deliver. So I thought, once lunch and PM was trading towards the 4-hour, I set some alerts at some key levels, such as the 4-hour gap. And then I checked the charts and I saw that we were getting a very nice potential short. So this was exactly like the dream scenario. Create these relative equal lows, 3 relative equal lows, tap the 4-hour to then take shorts. Okay, so that is my bias. I hope that makes sense. Hope that is on the higher time frame that makes sense. And then what I noticed, we were getting an instant reaction from the 4-hour gap, and we were about to inverse this bullish 50-minute gap, but I'm not going to take. I was actually about to take, but then I thought, let me just be patient and I'll wait on a continuation short. I'm not going to take this. I'm not going to take this continuation with like 120 point stop loss, or else this reversal on 15-minute inversion, if we were to get it. So I thought, let me just wait on the pullback. I saw we were about to open up a bearish 50-minute gap here, so I thought, let me wait on a pullback, and then I'll take shorts, and that is exactly what we got. I also alerted some of my friends in the group chat. I wanted to see the 50-minute get inverse bearish. I also posted it on my Insta story. I want to see this 50-minute get inverse bearish, then open up this bearish gap, get a pullback, and then take continuation shorts, generate some LR to target. And that is almost exactly what we got. Unfortunately, we held the bullish 50-minute gap, but still this trade was so clean not to take. So here was the 50-minute gap. This was the 50-minute gap, and then we generated some low resistance liquidity here. These stack lows here. We had this external, still this sell side liquidity here. This sell side liquidity with some low resistance liquidity here. And then we tapped the 15 and we got an instant V shape out of there. I actually took this on the 1 minute. I did get a pretty bad fill like there, but let's say you got the perfect fill. My stop loss was at the body here. And then I scaled off most at the sell side liquidity. but I was so confident in the way we were trending and the 4 hour gap here and these draws on liquidity. So I thought, you know, PM is very volatile. I'm going to leave a runner. So I left a runner to, well, I had to close my position, unfortunately. I wanted to leave a runner, you know, like all the way down here to all of these draws, but I had to close my position at 250, well, like the level, 152, I believe. So here, because it almost was 10, it almost was 4:10 p.m. So I closed my position around here. Still made almost like 450 on one singular micro. So that is pretty sick. So yeah, I went break even. Also right here, ES was pretty correlated, and what I really liked about ES as well, I believe ES failed to tap the 4 hour. If we go over here, yeah. So I talked about SMTs, valid SMTs in my, I believe it was my previous trade recap. No, the one before that. I like to talk about, you know, if you guys know true manipulation or just, you know, how to use SMTs, both pairs need to be in a spot of distribution. So NQ sweeps out this high and ES fails to sweep out this high. But look at ES, look at ES. This looks still so clean on ES. We sweep out this high inside of this bearish gap. We didn't tap this upper gap, but that doesn't matter. ES still looks very bearish, and we on top of that we have an SMT here. So both pairs are in a spot of distribution. But let's say ES inversed these gaps and ES was trading around, you know, ES was trading around here without taking out this high, then like ES isn't in a spot of distribution lower. But I looked over at ES and I saw we had a beautiful swoop on this high inside of this bearish gap. So ES was also in a very nice spot of distribution lower, and NQ was that as well. So this was such an A plus trade. Also this 50-minute gap, I've been using like sponsorship more. This 50-minute gap was sponsored by the 4-hour gap. So higher time frame, we tap the 4-hour gap. We trade away from the 4-hour gap, and in this leg we create this bearish 50-minute gap. So the bearish 50-minute gap is sponsored by the by this higher time frame 4-hour gap. So, you know, this trade had literally everything. It was the dream scenario. It had just everything. It had the draw on liquidity. It had the delivery. It had the sponsorship. It had the good RR. It had everything, bro. It was also, bro. This trade is. I think this is probably trade of the month. We also tapped the 50% of this higher time frame range perfectly. So I cannot name a single thing that was bad about this trade. Genuinely, like, even when we got in drawdown here, I was almost getting stopped out here. I had still so much confidence. I was like, I saw we were pushing up here, and I said, no, this is just going to tap the rejection block here. You know, the 3-minute rejection block, the 2-minute oh no, 2-minute, but like like this rejection block here. You know, on the 3-minute. That tapped into the 50-minute gap. I also saw we were opening up a new higher time frame candle. So let me check. Yeah, so we were about to open up a new higher time frame candle around well, at 3 p.m. A new 30-minute candle, a new 50-minute candle, and a new hourly candle. So that is pretty you know, like dangerous to enter around that time, because most of the time when these new higher time frame candles open, we first want to manipulate, put in the top wick of that candle, and then distribute lower. But I still thought this high should be protected. We also failed to put in a 30-minute gap because the wick here closed up the 30-minute gap, and also no hourly gaps. So even mid-trade, when this was about to get hit stop loss, I still had so much conviction. I still had so much conviction in this trade, and that is the trades you need to be taking, the trades that you are completely fine with losing. In my opinion, I genuinely think these are like the 90% win rate trade, but of course these don't happen like very often, maybe like once a week, once every 2 weeks or something. So, you know, if you only take these trades, trust me, you will become profitable. Yeah, this was such a clean trade. Hope you guys also understand. Hope maybe some of you guys caught this as well. I don't think so, because it was pretty late in the it was a Friday PM session, so hopefully you guys were just enjoying your lives, I think. And yeah, that is pretty much everything I had to say about this trade. Make sure to join up the free Discord. I'll put it down below. If you guys want to learn from my own mentor or check out his Discord, I'll also put it down below. I have some discount codes in my Discord. So make sure to check everything out. If you guys want a free journal as well, check it out. Check out the description. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.